A little birdie told me that there might be a new Sony A1 coming out this year. I don't really know anything about that, but there's some cool rumours. Let's talk about it. And also, check out the new A1 that we're using here as part of the team. So, I've got a new camera as part of kind of like the gear that I'm going to be using day to day, and that is the Sony A1 for a few different reasons. One, they got that megapixel count which allows you to take higher quality images to make sure the sharpness of the lenses is as crazy as possible. Having higher quality images was a big part of the reason why I wanted to go for this. As I test out a lot of lenses, and they do tend to be E-mount, I needed something that had a higher resolution both for photo and video that I can actually give you a more informed decision about when it comes to actually reviewing. The other side of it is I was starting to get a little bit bored of the A7C II, so I decided to see kind of like what I could get out of this camera and, take the plunge into something a little bit different. However, I am going to be giving the A7C II another chance to impress me with a review coming up soon. So make sure you like, follow, and subscribe if you want to see that. Yeah. The Sony A1, of course, is pretty much the flagship camera from Sony at the moment, with a whole host of really awesome specs. For example, shooting 8K, which was something that ended up being a little bit important for me because of this new setup.
Yeah. Are you enjoying yourself there?
Yeah.
Playing with your camera, with your phone camera
that we have here at the moment. I wanted to do top-down camera setup to be able to look at the details of the stuff that we're reviewing, right? With this, because it has 8K, I can zoom in and enhance on pretty much anything that I am going to be shooting or looking to get B-roll of. Having that extra definition in the shots allows you to really play with what you can get out of it, especially when you don't necessarily have enough time to shoot a lot of content. When it comes to using 8K, you can zoom and enhance, reframe to your heart's delight, and it's actually really useful. And the video specs from the A1 Mark II is going to be something I'm quite interested in here. Are they going to go for an 8K 60, or are they going to continue with the 8K 30? There's not much need to have 8K 60, and Sony realise this, but it's an interesting added feature if they do add it into the new lineup in the cameras. Anyway. With this, I wanted to put it through its paces a little bit. I've had one before, but I ended up swapping it for an FX6 because I was doing more video, and now I'm coming back to this because I like the idea of capturing those high quality images like I was saying. So we actually took this out with the A7C II, which I mentioned a minute ago, and did a photo shoot, an autumn photo shoot for the model agency we work with, MK Models, and testing out a little bit of some cool composition techniques, but also putting the camera through its paces. And this autumn style shoot was actually a really great way to test out the image quality of the camera, and I must admit I was blown away. It was absolutely spot on, and it was some of my favourite images that I've taken of late. This is something else to talk about here. Is the new A1 II going to keep the 50 megapixel sensor, or is it going to go for something a little bit different? This is kind of what it's rumoured to have at the moment, but it's a rumour, so we don't really know just yet. What you get here is a 60 megapixel camera. It can do 30 frames a second of pure RAW, which is absolutely fantastic, and it's just incredibly fast camera just in general. I also went out with Tyler to take some nature photography with it as well. Something to say here about the original is that it's some of the best autofocus that I've ever really used. It's tack sharp, it knows what it's shooting, it's almost crazy. And this is what we're going to be expecting from a new successor to this camera, something that is unquestionably fast. Is it going to go for that 120 frames that a lot of the other flagship cameras have done, or is it just going to go for something that is just good across the board? This is what's going to be really interesting here. What I like about it is the tactile functions that it has pretty much throughout the actual camera itself. So let's take the lens off. And as you can see, there's a lot of options at the top. Here you actually have your drive modes, which is absolutely, it's absolutely great to be able to swap between your drive modes as quick as possible. And you've also got your AF modes as well as your manual and all of your program settings there. You've got your meter here with a nice clicky fidget dial here, which I always think is more fidget than actual kind of like useful. Again, I tend to shoot manual, so it's not necessarily super important for me personally. And then you got just an all-round really nice feeling camera. It feels better than a lot of the other Sonys that I've actually had to date. And of course you got that 61 megapixel sensor, which is absolutely awesome. You've got the dual SD card slots that can actually take Type A as well. And then you got this screen here, and I will admit, the only thing I found mildly frustrating, but also I quite like, is the screen. It's nice to come back to it for a little while. However, I do very much prefer the vari-angle screens, but this is more of a nature photographer, sports photographer camera. You know, it's got the specs, it's got the ability to do some really awesome stuff. It also shoots 120 frames a second of 4K at full frame, 4K at 60p, but you get a crop there as well, but that's down sampled to 4K. You know, the A1 is just a pretty thing. The other thing about it, alright, I'm not saying, you know, it's just kind of more of a braggy thing, I guess, is, you know, you got the gold A1, got the lovely gold A1, which I feel like is one of those things which is just like, I've got a gold bit on my camera, make it look special. Ultimately, what do I think of this camera? I think it's incredibly powerful. It has a lot of capabilities for both event photographers as well as sports, wildlife, nature photographers, landscape photographers. It's pretty much the camera that can do everything that you really need it to without necessarily compromising on pretty much anything. Again, when it comes to Sony cameras, when it comes to the 8K kind of like, you know, realm at the moment, it's not the best 8K in the world. In fact, you can actually just shoot with a normal V90 and still get the 8K in there. So it's not super high bit rate, but it's good enough, high quality enough to really be able to make a little bit of difference when it comes to shooting stuff in post. The camera I've shot with a number of different things recently. I used it at a wedding, as well as on this autumn shoot, as well as shooting video with it just in general. And I must admit, I really enjoy it. The other thing that I thought this would actually be really good at, and you may have noticed in my videos, I do end up looking too much at my attractive face in the screen. Don't know why I do it. I've been trying to get out of the habit of doing it, and hopefully this can teach me to do that. So when I say kind of miss the vari-angle screen on this, but also it might actually be better that it doesn't have the vari-angle screen. Because the great thing about the Sony cameras is that you can pretty much always trust the autofocus, so do you necessarily need to worry too much about being able to see what the composition looks like if you're just holding out a camera in front of you? That's the real question. As for the future for Sony shooters, at the moment we've had a very long time where we've not had another full frame Sony camera, pretty much ever since the A9 III. Now that was a really interesting camera. Of course, you've got your global shutter there. So as we approach the end of the year, and this is me not knowing anything, so you can't quote me on anything here, right? Are we going to see a nice new A7? Are we going to see another A1? And, you know, does this still really hold up to today? Because it's been out for a number of years. I think it does, and it's an excellent camera. And I can't wait to see what Sony are going to be releasing next out of their lineup. It's going to be a very interesting, maybe end of this year, start of next year. I can't wait to see what the next full-frame Sony camera is going to be. And, well, we'll just have to wait and see, really. Anyway, if you like this video, make sure you like, follow, subscribe. If you want to see more, have a good day. Yes, I do have glasses now. Found out that one of my eyes goes too far and the other one goes too short, so that's fun. Getting old, I'm 30. Yeah. But make sure you like, you follow and subscribe. Also, go over to Camera Centre UK if you want to get any deals on any cameras. Link in down below for the camera if you're interested in it also. But yeah, have a good day.